Welcome to the Mindless Banter podcast, where we sit here and talk about nothing for a very long, extended period of time.
Sounded like you were going to say where we talk about nothing for 11 minutes.
For one minute. 11 minutes.
11 minutes of useless knowledge, and then we cut the recording.
Once again, our numbers are going up. Well, thank you. We thank all of you, especially you new people. But once again, I'm going to ask why. Why?
I'm not gonna ask that. I am just getting excited that our numbers are going up, and I'm hoping to maybe start doing some community events pretty soon. Maybe playing some games with some of the people who watch us, and it'd be fun.
I like our little community event of watching terrible movies, which I think we're gonna find out the numbers here soon.
Yeah, we record these a little bit in advance, so we don't know everything on this recording, but we should soon.
Dude, we're gonna have to count the emails. Oh my gosh, we're gonna have to count the emails. We did this completely wrong. We did it completely wrong. We're gonna get a billion emails, and they're gonna be like, this movie, and we're gonna have to sort through them like chimps.
Possibly.
Oh, I just realized this. All right, moving on. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm okay. I had some time lately to reflect off of the Oscars from last week, and just, again, I shouldn't, I'm not shocked that my movie didn't win. More specifically, I'm just shocked about how bored I am while I'm watching it, and I'm literally trying to think, is anyone interested in who won Best Sound Editing?
No.
Does anyone know who these people are?
It's a matter of respect, yes, but it's just like the credits at the end of a movie. Like, you watch a movie from 15 years ago, and the credit scene would go up and let you know of maybe 50 to 100 people at most. And then it was over. And now it's like the assistant of the assistant of the assistant coffee getter, the person that grabbed the back scratcher for the person over here. And you're like, I do not care about any of these people.
Yeah, I know one of the guys in the credits for The Dark Knight. He was in the movie. He was an extra. The Dark Knight was filmed in Chicago, and so a bunch of people that I knew went out for not auditions. What is it? Where an extra, just to become an extra in the movie? Yeah, he's in the scene where he's not actually in the movie though, but I believe he's in like a deleted scene. You remember when Bruce Wayne has the giant party for Harvey Dent, and then the Joker crashes it and throws the girl out the window?
Yeah,
he's in that scene. He's one of the people at the party.
But he's in the background?
Yeah, he's in the background. He did say that the Joker threw, when the Joker's walking, he's eating the, the meat on a stick or whatever, because I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head.
Strawberry?
Not strawberries. He throws the stick at him, and he said it hit him on one of the takes, but I'm like, okay. But yeah, he's in the credits, and he like pointed it out to me. I'm like, no one's going to, that's really cool, but at the same time, like, no one's going to, I turned the movie off. The movie is off by the time I see the first credit scene.
They figured it out. They're like, well, nobody is interested. Like, everyone sits for 2 minutes and go, oh, that's who played her. Oh, that's who played. Then they stand up and leave, and then freaking 45 minutes of credits go by, and so they're like, okay, we got to figure something out so that all these people can be stared at. And they put a little part at the end of the movie, and you're seeing that more and more. And so people sit through it and they just talk, and nobody cares. And they look up and look at these goofy names. They're like, first studio, 40 names go by. Second studio, 40 more names go by. And you're like, I just do not care about any of this. Yeah. And then it pops up and it's like, and you're like, wow, that was worth sitting here for.
That's why when I go to a movie now, I always use my P app. So the P app tells you when you can go to the bathroom, when there's good points to go, so you don't miss anything. Oh my goodness. And B, it tells you if there's anything to actually see. If there's anything at the end of the credits, so you don't have to sit there and try to wait or anything. Because I know I don't want to sit through those credits again, just to hope that there's something there.
The P app?
The P app.
P-A-P-P? PAP?
Yep. Yeah. It's great. If you go to the movies.
Huh. Really? So just a bunch of people. Are there spoilers?
No, not really. What they'll do is they'll say, like, Okay, so you'll read it and it'll say at this scene something will be happening. They'll describe something like if it was for like X-Men like Wolverine will be like in the plane. Cuz I can't think of it off the top of my head. And then your phone will actually buzz when that point comes up because you sync a timer with it. So whoever does the app has a timer for it, and they set it so specifically when that moment happens, your phone buzzes, so you know that's a time where you can go. And they usually give you you have like a 10-minute window to go. It's great.
That's for like some serious movie watchers.
Yeah, or for anything that's over like 2.5 hours long. I don't know about you, but I get stuff when I go to the movie theater. I don't just sit there like a chump. I get popcorn.
You know what? I want to watch a movie with you. I think that'd be fun. I don't really go to the movies. I don't know, man. I'm pessimistic, I guess. Negative towards movies. I just don't see much that I'm like, yeah, I gotta go see it. But the ones I usually go and see, I love, like V for Vendetta and Real Steel. Paul was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one by Simon and all them.
Yeah, I just like movies, so it's just kind of it's just my thing. I like
that's
going
cool.
to them, but that's it.
I feel it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, Oscars need to be canceled, and they should just make the ceremony now like a 1-hour spectacle where they just like the first half hour they should just breeze past like sound editing and makeup and costume.
It's beyond goofy.
They give Oscars before the event to other people, so why not just add that into it? I don't know who these people are. I don't care. Yes, they should be rewarded for what they did, but I don't know who they are, and they should just spend the last half hour just on the big ones. And then that's all that anyone wants to see. It's done. And then I don't have to waste 4 hours of my life.
That is amazing. It's just an all-day event, and the people get all dressed up and they sit at a table and probably have like 2 meals watching these stupid celebrities pat each other on the back. Oh, your movie made $35 billion? Mom, I made 36. You're so cool. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and again, too, I sit through the 4-hour spectacle just to get angry at the end because nothing I ever want wins. So I really have no reason to watch it anymore. I don't know why I do. I'm done. I've said it every year. I'm done. I'm not watching it next year.
The next year comes. No, I watched on YouTube the Neil Patrick Harris thing.
God, he was boring.
Well, you know what? So was Ellen. Like everything, it's just kind of like hey, you're famous. Go up there and be funny, you monkey. And then they throw quarters at him, and then they go up there and say, and it's just.
I don't know if they put that in the YouTube video. He had this bit that he was doing for the whole show where he had this briefcase that was under lock and key, and he had somebody like in the second row watch it, and then said that was his Oscar picks, and he didn't want anybody to tamper with it. So you thought like since he likes magic, it was gonna be some sort of maybe magic trick or something at the end, and then at the end where he opens and he reads a list, it was just like this person will freak out on the stage when they come up, and it was just weird little quotes like that, and like wow. I really wish the Oscar band would have just been like womp 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 womp.
And he just got off all sad.
Yeah, somebody pulled him off with like a
The
cane
hook,
where they put the cane around his neck and they just drag him off.
Shepherd stick thing.
Exactly.
Guide him off. Yeah, no. I feel you, man. I said it before. I'm not a huge celebrity worshiper. I don't really care much about like movies. I watch stuff that are interesting, and if there's something that stands out, like I go, oh, hey, Ridley Scott, I know him. He's influenced me as a child and showed awesome alien movies that still hold up to this day 30 years later.
Yeah, and actually, really quick before we go to our topic, the one thing I did want to tell you, because I don't think you were aware of it, the guy, Neil Blomkamp, who did District 9 and Elysium, the guy who I told you who is going to be filming the next Alien movie.
Okay. Got a little update?
Yeah. He has said that the movie is going to be taking place, or I don't know if this is official, but it's what he wants to do after the second movie. So Aliens, and then it's going to be his movie. And he's not really saying it, but basically he's like, 3 and 4 didn't happen. Like the way he's making it, like, because he wants the people from the second. The thing that's so terrible about the third one, even though you like it, and here's the thing, I can watch it and I can see why somebody would think it's okay. I get that. But from a diehard Aliens fan, they killed off Newt and Hicks instantly. They're just gone. They don't even show them dying. They're just dead. They were like your favorite characters in the previous movie. They're just gone. So some of his concept art has them being like main characters again, which is exciting.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens, friend.
And
I don't know what to expect. I mean, I'm sure he's got great visions, but when the bigger companies get involved, you just don't know.
yeah, and it's Fox, so I'm sure they'll be like, "Why don't you change this? Why don't you change
Yeah.
this around?"
No, I think this person needs to wear an orange shirt, and you're like, that doesn't really make any sense. And they're like, well, you're gonna do it.
How about Newt was a cyborg all the time, but she was from the very, very distant future. But she also came back in a time machine. But she came back, left her parents behind, and then went to this alien world on accident. You're like, that's not what we want. That's not what we want.
Let me stop you there. How about listen? I'm sorry, Fox. How about we don't do that? What do you think about that?
Yeah, wouldn't that be great?
Would
this be coming from the same executives who said, "Let's sew Deadpool's mouth shut"? That sounds like a good idea.
Oh gosh.
Right.
But yeah, no, I hope we'll see. It's. I mean, they messed up big time on that latest Indiana Jones, and they got a new one coming out, whoop-de-doo poo-poo, with Chris Pratt, which, you know, I love, but I don't like to see the same people over and over again. And I don't know, man. That's a tough one. Just why can't anyone use their creativity to make something nice and new instead of just remaking things that are already good?
Yeah.
Okay, so let us talk. So we got a letter. And it was a specific letter made out to you, Daniel.
Me?
Well, yes. Well, us. I just wanted to make you feel more special. I care about your feelings, Daniel.
I was going to say. They just want to know my feelings on something, not yours.
Jason, can you shut your dirty mouth?
Yeah. Let Dan talk more.
Jason, you talk a bit too much, and you're very uninteresting and really not good to look at. So, I have a letter from someone named Everdusk, a.k.a. Aurora. And it says, "Dear your name here." Dear mindless banter podcasting people. What is your opinion on fandoms? Do you have any favorites? Are you in any? What's your opinion on some of the major fandoms? I.e. example, the furry fandom, the My Little Pony fandom. Sincerely, Everdusk.
Did the My Little Pony one only become a recent thing after we talked about it a few weeks ago?
No, that's probably everyone listening to us. It's probably just a bunch of My Little Pony peeps.
Well, you know, I'm never going to say no to a community who's interested in listening to us if it's the My Little Pony community. Who am I to say that's wrong?
You know what? That's true. And let's talk a little bit about that I have no problem. I've never had any problem with people expressing themselves or just doing things that they love, as long as it doesn't, hurt people or annoy me intensely. And it takes a lot to annoy me. I'm talking like, hey, we're in this face slapping fandom, and you're like, what? And they're like, and you're like, okay, I don't really like this one. I'm not really for this one. How do I say I need to go away? I need to slap you? Gladly. But I mean, furries don't bother me. If I said, okay, so if I was in a cafe or something, or a pizza place, because I'm hungry and I like pizza, and I see that a collection of these large adulted people are coming in, and they have full furry suits, and they're all laughing and having a great time and looking at each other's work, I'm going to be like, thumbs up, this is awesome. I get my own personal Comic-Con show.
Yeah, I'm completely with you. Actually, I saw somebody once a long time ago, actually, strangely enough, in a pizza place. I swear it was a pizza place, who were actually going to a steampunk convention.
Oh, I love steampunk people that really do good work.
Yeah, had gears all over them, and most of them were wearing top hats. One of the women had a dress on, but it looked like you could open I don't know, not a cabinet, but a slit in the dress, and then underneath that was gears and parts, almost like the dress was being run mechanically. And I'm like, that is pretty cool. That
is a cool fandom. I knew someone that was into it, and she just liked to gather old pieces of stuff to stain them and to scuff them and to glue them, and it was cool. I greatly enjoyed it. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And a pizza place, and you're definitely not living vicariously through me, which is true.
That's true. And actually, it got me super motivated when I had saw that. I got into it for like a small amount where I started creating, actually building an engine, like a fake engine that wouldn't. My goal was to make like something on a bicycle after I had saw, which is funny because I had no desire to do it previously to
Yeah.
seeing it.
Yeah.
Never thought about it once, but when I saw it, I was like, I'm gonna give that a try. And I was taking these empty vodka bottles that had like a hazy look to them, like they weren't clear glass so you could see through them, and I was putting dyed water into them, pink dyed water, so it looked like, and then you'd put them into the engine so it looked like you had like these crazy pink like gas bottles that you had to put into the engine.
Yeah.
And then I stopped because I was like, wow, that's a lot of work.
Well, oh, absolutely. But man, if you have a desire or a love for it, oh man, I feel as if like in this day and age we are in a spot where we just get everything instantly, you know? Everything's in our hand and our attention spans are just done. And so to be dedicated to something is almost just like a rarity. You know, people that even go to the gym. I mean, when you look at the amount of people that go to a gym compared to the rest of the populace of a city, I mean, it's those people are dedicated to find working out, you know, their passion, and that's good. They need to do that. We all need to do that because our bodies are important. Because we only got one of them, and it's just gonna suck when you get older, and you're just like, my back hurts. I should have worked out for 10 years.
Yeah, I always kind of blame it. I always kind of call it like that Skyrim syndrome, where every time I play Skyrim, I feel like I'm missing out on something. Like I feel like I should be doing something else in the game, maybe that I don't know about. And that's kind of how I feel like when I'm researching like stuff on the internet. Like there's so much at your fingertips that you almost everyone ends up just becoming like a jack of all trades instead of just maybe getting really good at something
Temporarily, almost, huh?
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, I sat and thought about it of things that I'm a fan of, and have you?
A little bit.
Okay. All right. Well, let's just go through because you know what? I wish I had something exponentially awesome to stand up and go, I am a man that builds robots and rides them around or walks them or rides them or controls them around, but I'm not that cool.
Yeah, we're not smart enough either to build that.
Yeah, I wish I was. But
all I could do is make fake steampunk bicycles that are really just bicycles that I just look like I put an engine onto it.
Well, okay, so I guess I'll start. I mean, I don't know. I wish I had something cool. I really do, but I don't. So I'm just going to name a bunch of stuff that I'm huge fans of, and that if I can get into a collection of people, I would be very comfortable and talk like anime. I like anime, manga, however you pronounce it. Anime, I freaking love it. I love it. I think it has something to combine with cartoons, which, you know, I'm in my late 20s, and I still would rather watch cartoons than How I Met Your Mother, because I'm an idiot. Oh, am I an idiot. And so when you combine anime, which is kind of the same as cartoons, but has more of an adult taste to it, you can get some pretty cool stuff with some pretty good storylines. And I like the story for them. A lot of them are real good. I watched Attack on Titan a few times with a group of people. I already watched it, but I watched it with them because that's a great storyline. Great little thing. And the manga, when I traveled and went afoot, I would go to libraries and crack them open and read a few stuff because it's fun.
Yeah, I mean, I never got into it. It was a weird medium that I never disliked, and it was actually one of those things where you remember when like you're a little kid and your parents are like, you need to eat your vegetables, and you'd eat them but you'd hate it while you were doing it.
Yeah.
I've tried doing that so much with friends who are like, no, you just haven't seen the right one yet, and so I'd watch one with them that they were convinced that this was the one that would break me into it, and I just I just had to force myself to watch it. It's just a weird medium that I could never really get into. I know my friend back in high school for the longest time tried to get me to watch Cowboy Bebop with him like over and over again. I'm like, and I watched it twice. I'm like, it's just not for me. Like hey, more power to you if you like it. It just wasn't for me.
Sure.
But I can definitely see that they have a lot of their themes that I've heard about. Like when people have described certain shows to me, I'm like, that sounds interesting. Now, can I just see it? That's not in an anime.
Yeah, well, you know what, man? I mean, I feel the same way. Opposite of you though. Like if it
Yeah.
was the same exact thing but with real people, I don't think I'd be as interested.
Yeah.
So okay, I went. What about you, buddy? What do you got? Lay it out.
I'm
Unzip it.
mine's gonna kind of be a three-parter because they all kind of relate to each other. Because probably other than just watching like my weird movies that I like so much, like if I'm just gonna go off like weird kind of like cult classic things or just nerdy things that I like, it's always a mix between westerns and science fiction. So when I'm lucky enough then to see some of them merge together, such as Serenity and Firefly, which is when I heard that I didn't watch that show when it came out, but when I heard that show existed, I watched that just over and over again. My mind was blown that somebody had taken a western and a science fiction movie and put them together. And I remember a few years ago it being like a New Year's Eve party, and I left the New Year's Eve party because I think I didn't want to be around the people anymore. They were annoying me. So I went into my room, put in Firefly, and just watched it, and was completely happy on New Year's Eve. But and I know one that you're interested in as well too, The Dark Tower. The whole Dark Tower series, which again takes more of kind of like, not, it wasn't really science fiction, but more in my, what I like to think fantasy is, but mix it in with a western. Yeah, I could watch those, and every time we talk about Comic-Con and I think about going, I would either go as somebody from the Dark Tower or someone from Firefly.
All right, well, who'd you go to the Dark Tower? Not Steven, or not Roland, would you?
No, probably not. I would probably, let's see, who out of the main group, Eddie was my favorite. But
He was good. He was a good character.
I would probably, you know what, I would probably go as
Susanna?
I'd want to be a woman, so let's see.
You'd want to be a black woman that has no legs.
I'm trying to think of the gentleman's name. He's in the last book, and I hate to say his name for people who would read it. So I'll put a spoiler alert here.
Yes.
His name was it Dandelo. He was the one who would he was almost like a vampire, but when you would go to his house, he would
Make you laugh.
and you just never felt like you wanted to leave. But I thought that was such an interesting character.
He was an interesting character.
He
was very interesting, especially when he got Roland laughing.
Yeah. Oh wait, no, I take that back. I'd go as Flag. Sorry, Flag.
Okay, see, that's where I thought you would go, because you love him.
Yeah, I would go as Flag, and I love him in every... The thing that's so great about him, too, is anyone who reads Stephen King books, is he's a villain in, like, 3 or 4 books. And I always got the feeling that he was just doing it because he was bored. Like, he is kind of a bad guy, I guess, but he was never so malicious to me in ways, because since when you find out that he jumps between all these worlds in Stephen King's universe and just does weird things, it's like he's bored. He just wants to mess with people for a little bit, and then he leaves. Yeah,
I wonder what the bigger picture. And that's, you know what? That's, I was watching Alien, and it's funny, you know. You walk in, like, oh gosh, dude, it doesn't hold your hand.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't hold your hand. It just throws you into a world, into a universe that you have to work to understand. And Alien, when I watched that recently, I sat there and I was
First one or the second one?
First one.
First one, okay.
First one, it doesn't hold your hand. It's just like, here's this giant ship, and you're like, what's going on? And all these characters are sitting there talking. You're like, well, Kane, that was the first one to sit up, so is that our protagonist? Is he? Maybe? I don't know. And then he's the first one to die, and so you're like, I don't understand. Like, okay, all right, so they broke some of the laws there. I now know nothing and don't know who's going to be the one that survives. So... you know, and then you're walking around the ship. You don't understand anything. It's totally new. It doesn't sit there and go, let's go into the AC condenser conductor chain swinging room. You know, a big old sign that has 2,800 letters on it. And then they all look at it, stare at it, and then slowly turn their head to the screen, give us a minute to go, do you understand where we're going? And then everyone goes, uh-huh. And then they go into the room. They just walk into this thing with this giant swinging monolith freaking metal piece of nothing up there, and chains and dripping water, and you're like, what? Same thing with Dark Tower. It gives you no mercy. It's like, here's the story, it's wonderful, read it, and you're like, where am I?
Yeah.
What am I doing here? And then when the second book starts, you know, you watch Roland go through all the stuff in the first book, and then I'm not going to even spoil, I'm not. that thing, something happens at the beginning, changes the entire thing, and you're like, well, why would you do that?
Yeah, I remember being really upset when that happened because I didn't understand why you would hinder something like that.
Like he was a beast.
Yeah,
he was a monster.
But that's okay.
And, yeah, I guess so. Yeah. I mean, he got 3 other guns, right?
Yeah, the other thing too, actually, about aliens that I think would go, and Alien that would go with the fandom thing is people who make. I don't do it personally, but I find it fascinating to see people who do it when they make futuristic technology from like 1970s perspective, like all like in the Alien movie, what they thought the future of like computers would be and stuff, and like how they did it like in Alien Isolation, the video game, where everything in that game was all tech that people thought would be tech 30 years. It like would be tech now, but from the 1970s perspective.
Yeah,
I love that so much.
I know, man. And you know what? It holds up. That's the thing. It holds up. They made extra effort to do it, and they did it, and it was wonderful. It was just a good movie. Yeah, no, I would totally be in anything with the Dark Tower, but the problem and the blessing of it is not a lot of people know about it, and it's not been raped yet by the world, and it's just pure and it's great. I mean, like Harry Potter, loved it. It's sweet and wonderful, but I mean, it just got so popular, and the movies are cutting out 3/4 of each book, and I think they changed the ending from the book to the movie, and people were kind of like, that's not really what happened, but we'll deal with it because we love Harry Potter.
Yeah, I think they did a good job. I'm trying to remember how the book ended. I mean, they got the gist of it right, I remember, but I mean, when you explain the Dark Tower to somebody, and I know Ron Howard has the rights to it, so he's going to be making a movie out of it. It's one of those things that when you try to explain it to somebody, and the same thing when you try to describe other Stephen King books to other people, where it sounds really weird and really bad, and it sounds really tough to try to put that onto a screen and make it seem believable or enjoyable. And I just don't know how well this translates, but we'll see.
Let me try to do it in a 3-sentence paragraph. You ready? Roland Deschain, last of his kind, a gunslinger, travels the land chasing a man that destroyed his past, then gains 3 companions and journeys along the beam, losing companions and gaining them to get to the Dark Tower. How'd I do with that?
Not bad. I know Ron Howard has said that his goal of the movies was to make movies on all the big events and then a television series to go over all the smaller things that happen. But
I hope, man.
We'll see. But we shouldn't focus too much on that. But that would be a big one for me. Anything that merges Westerns and science fiction together, except Cowboys and Aliens. That movie was awful.
Well, it did have Daniel Craig in it.
And Harrison Ford in it. It had everything going for it, except a terrible movie.
You know, I just wanted to poke at you, but you're right. It was a really bad movie.
And I've thought about buying it so many times, even though I know I hate it. But it's just but it just mixes my favorite genres together. Maybe this will be the time.
I remember one of my friends. Okay, so I lived in a small town, barely inside of Utah, for a while, and I worked at a pizza place. And it was very backwards. Like the fashion was like a few years behind. Everyone was kind of I don't want to say just country people, I guess. They were very nice and all. But I remember one of the boss I worked at the pizza place when Cowboys and Aliens came out. He goes, "What's the deal with Cowboys and Aliens? They just barely started Cowboys and Indians." And I stared at him, and he was like, all like, "I can't believe that. Why would they do Cowboys and Aliens?" I'm like, "Sweetie, it's like 100 years ago. Like, what are you doing?" Like, come on, let's try to move forward from Cowboys and Indians. Let's just try to move.
Did he say they barely started?
Yes.
I'm like, no, that was all the movies in the 50s and the 60s where Cowboys.
I know. Obviously, he hasn't had his fill yet.
Yeah. All right, fair enough. I mean, I like those stories too, so I'm with him. I'd like to see more.
You know what? They haven't had. You know what? That's a good point. They haven't had a good Western, have they? Like, not a good Western. Like, you've seen like True Grit. That was okay, but I think it was I can't remember.
That was my favorite one. I've seen most of the Westerns in the last 10 years, I would say, because there's not that many, so it's really easy for me to see all of them. Yeah. And I would say there's only been two that are borderline great, and there's been a lot of good ones, but like
Now, wait,
maybe
are you
good
talking-
ones for myself would be like a boring one for you, for a person who doesn't watch them. But for myself, I most of them have been good, but I've only seen maybe 2 or 3 that are maybe great movies that no one's watched.
You know what the best one was
Nope.
of this 10 years, hands down?
310 to Yuma.
No, what's that movie with that guy?
Oh man, you really limited it down. Let me figure this out. Hold on.
Wait, and it had Johnny Depp in it as the Indian.
Oh, that movie was awful. That was The Lone Ranger. That whole time, usually that stuff doesn't bother me, but I'm like, why is Johnny Depp playing a Native American? Okay, here's the thing. If you were to pick a lesser known actor who was white and who's going to play Native American, I don't think I would have noticed it as much. But it's because you know who that guy is that it just completely takes you out of it instantly. You're like, that's Jack Sparrow. The guy who does nothing. He's in nothing. He basically plays the same character in every movie he's in now.
Oh, I don't know, man. He's pretty varied. I mean, from Edward Scissorhands to I mean, he's one of the few people that can play different people, even though they're all eclectic and esoteric.
No, and he is good, but lately, like in the last 5 years, all he does is play. He plays variants of Jack Sparrow, but it's always a variant of that same character.
Yeah,
and he's always in these weird, quirky Tim Burton movies.
Yeah, no, true that. I'll give you that. Didn't like him in the one Alice in Wonderland thing. That was dumb. Okay, so no. When I talk westerns, I'm talking Eastwood and John
Wayne. Yeah, I've got a.
Yeah,
all
is that
my.
what you're talking about?
Yeah, I mean, even out of the ones the last few years, I thought True Grit was amazing. There's an Australian
that's pretty good.
Western called The Proposition that was really good. 310 to Yuma, which had Christian Bale and Russell Crowe in it, is really good. There's even a lesser known one called Appaloosa that was really good that had
Aragorn. Knowing all this,
Aragorn from Lord of the Rings is the main character in it. So yeah, I love them. I can watch them and just have a stupid grin on my face. Like science fiction movies, westerns, and any action movie from the 80s, I will just turn them on and be happy instantly. Like my brain turns off and a big smile comes on my face.
I'm a big fan of all those. I mean, I love Tombstone. Mm-hmm. I mean, I used to watch my grandpa. His favorite movie was Good, Bad, and the Ugly.
Yeah.
And I watched that with him when I went up to his little ranch, and he just loved it, and it was good. He just sit there quietly, and I was soaking in just how gritty that movie was back in the day.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with maybe this has to do with fandoms as well too. Maybe it kind of depends on what your upbringing is like, and maybe what goes on in your house. Because for myself, my family was musicians, or my dad was a musician, and he was really into westerns, and he never pushed them on me, but I kind of didn't really do anything with them. I played baseball and sports primarily, and then later, when I got into college, then I did a complete 180 to what he was. It was really odd. I'm okay, now I just like westerns and playing music. It eventually just, because I'd seen it growing up so much that I was like, oh my God, I do enjoy these things a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. Outlaw Josie Wales is probably my favorite Western of all time.
Have you ever seen that one?
It's an Eastwood one from the 70s. Where all of his movies were Westerns. But
yeah. I know, and he was so good in all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, dang it.
Do you have any other fandoms that you can?
Well, I was going to just talk about, I think I got a bunch of goofy stuff, but they're not really fandoms. Like I said, I wish I could just say I was into something cool, but I'm so boring. Comic books, cartoons, games.
Well, let me throw this at you. If someone was to say, let's say you had a person who came up to you and who was into the furry thing, and they wanted you to come check it out, would you go?
Furry?
Yeah.
I've never done it, so yes.
Good. I'm the exact same way, where I don't look down on anyone who does these certain things. I think it's all interesting, but it's just because it's never dawned on me and I've never done it, I'm willing to give anything within reason a try.
Yeah, no,
once.
Absolutely. If a group of college football peeps came up and they're like, "Hey, come party with us," I'd be like, "I don't think it sounds a little aggressive, and there's going to be a lot of alcohol in places in my body that shouldn't be.
And you've probably done it before. It's not a new experience.
But if a furry or like someone that's into My Little Pony, they're just nerds like me, just into something else. And I'm sure it's not like I'm going to go in there and be like, hey, My Little Pony. And they're like, oh, and they're going to start swinging fists and start, violent. They're just going to be like, hey, you, what are you doing here? And I'm like, I've never been here before. And they're like, hug me. And I'm like, all right, as long as you're clean.
That's one of the best things about the internet now. I mean, there's so much negative, that veil of the internet. I remember watching a review on John Wick, and one of the comments was saying how crazy white people are because they care more about animals than they do about people. And
white people?
Yeah, I mean, that was just. I remember just at that point being like, I don't think I'm gonna read YouTube comments anymore, because when you go to movies for the source to say what's wrong with like the social, just the whole social class of the United States, I'm like, you can't go to movies for that. I mean, they're just trying to make an enjoyable movie, but at the same time, the thing that's so great about the internet is maybe things that you were into. Whether, like, for myself, there's nobody in my high school who's into Star Wars, or at least no one that was blatant about it. But now you can find it. Now you can find any groups anywhere that are into it. And you can just find these people and be happy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true that. No, absolutely. I love it, and it makes me very happy. I think whatever you're into and whatever makes you happy, just do it, even if people give you crap about it. I mean, that's what I did. I enjoyed video games and reading comics. I enjoyed doing things that I like to do, and people, some of them did get on me, but I don't really care, not even a little bit. So if you're into, I admit it. I mean, it's fun too to see. Like, I got a good friend I've known for a while. His name was Chase. He's a handsome man with a mighty chin. I'm talking like Bruce Campbell chin, like one of those like, oh man, I'm an inferior man compared to you because of that chin. And I took him out to dinner, and he stood up, and he was like, hey, you watch My Little Pony? I'm like, no. And he goes, dude, you have to watch it. And I'm like, okay. Like, I'm not against it.
You're like,
it's just not on my to-do list right now. And then he's like, yeah, dude, I love it. See, I wasn't really into it either. But then I watched like 2 episodes, totally hooked. And he showed me his belt, and he had a My Little Pony belt on. And I was like, dude, you just got married. Like, why are you wearing that? but his little wife was either into it or acceptant of it. And he's happy, and she's happy. And that's just a high five for everybody. And then I bought him cheesecake, and we all were...
And then we never talked about it ever again.
Then we never talk. And then I don't talk. Actually, I don't talk to him.
He's deleted on my phone. I blocked his number. I moved.
Oh man, I changed my sex and my race. I just hope he didn't find me.
You did, yeah. You did what Nicolas Cage and John Travolta did. You found another person. You switched faces with them, so then he wouldn't be able to recognize you. What was that movie? Face Off? I don't know. Some terrible movie from the '90s. But
hey, you remember Paycheck?
No, I don't think so. It sounds familiar.
Well, there's a scene of a school, and that was my school. In high school. That was my high school.
Oh, look at you. Famous.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You got the friend of the friend that was in the background of a deleted scene of Batman.
Jealous?
I just wanted to spout my lame claim to fame.
Well, I will say I do remember being jealous of him at the time, though, because he got to see what the Joker looked like. And I remember him telling me, he's like, dude, people are going to love this guy. And I was excited about it anyway, but I got even more excited when he was like, dude, this dude is nuts. He's so creepy.
Yeah. Yeah, he did a good job. Very good job. Yeah. You know what, though? All Jokers have done good.
Yeah, actually, Mark Hamill might be my favorite one.
Well, he's just a voiceover, but yeah, he did great on the animated series.
But yeah, that's all I got. Though I will say, though, I think maybe you and me should step out. We should you and me should join a separate one and do something over the next few weeks, and we should.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, see what happens.
Oh, I could do something like I'll have to figure it out. Maybe there's a horror. No, I like horror. That's my big thing. I surround myself with horror stuff. I love horror movies. I love horror comics. I have horror stuff on my phone, my background, my screen. I used to. Now it's Adventure Time and a fat shredder.
You
Eat
could start
pizza.
writing My Little Pony horror fan fiction.
Oh, I might do that. If I get enough people that say I have to do that, I might do that. That would be that. I do it. If people actually emailed me and said, "We need you, Jason, to do a My Little Pony horror fan fiction, and we need you, Daniel, to proofread it and draw 2 pictures for it," I'd do it.
It would, it'd be one of those. It would be such a weird thing. Like when you'd watch it, you wouldn't even know how to take it. Like when I watched the. Did you watch that Power Rangers movie? That the guy who made the. Remember that short film that I sent you for the Punisher, Dirty Laundry?
Yeah.
He did one for the Power Rangers where it's like in the future and the world isn't happy because they turned kids into Power Rangers to fight like aliens who had come to Earth, and like some of the Power Rangers had died, and it was this really like bizarre, gritty like war zone, and the whole time, and like some of the Power Rangers are dead, and while I was watching, I'm like, wow, this feels weird, man. It's like, again, I think I used this analogy before. It's like someone took you into the closet and is like molesting you, and you can't like figure out what's happening though.
Wow, that's dark, man.
But you just when you're watching,
bringing up
you're
past
like,
events.
yeah, you're just like, but while you're watching, you're like, this is wrong. Like something is wrong about this. But it was still interesting to watch it, and it's gotten taken down since because I think the people who have the rights to the Power Rangers are suing him.
Oh, come on.
But if you get a chance, I'm sure it's somewhere on the internet. Everyone
what's it
watch
called?
that. I'd have to look it up.
Well, you know
You
what?
should talk for a second, and I will look it up.
Listen, we gotta have a code word. For it, we'll figure it out later. But yeah, no, I loved Power Rangers growing up. I mean, I remember being in Rose Ward, the ghetto school in Vegas, where there were so many people that weren't white, and I was the minority. But we would all play Power Rangers, and it was fun. And the lunchtime would happen, and we'd all go out. And God, it was like everybody was doing their Power Ranger thing, like everywhere. Like you look over these guys over here doing at a fence, and they're like choreographing a fight. And there's some girls over there doing stuff. And then there's guys in the middle of the room, and there was 2 of them that would like fight each other. It was weird, but you know what? That's just I don't know, man. That's just how kids grew up back in the day.
Yeah, well, and if people get a chance, I found it. It's just called Power Rangers, but it's just that's really just the only name of it. But you can just search for it by 2015 short film Power Rangers. It's 15 minutes long. You'll know if you're watching the right one when you turn it on. It's like a big war zone, and you can tell because it doesn't look like I filmed it in my backyard. Like it looks like somebody who actually
it's
knew
not found footage, is it?
No, it's actually filmed, and actually one of the people from Battlestar Galactica plays, I think, the Pink Ranger. So it's still some of the people in the movie you'll recognize. And one of them was like a Power Ranger who like turned against them and now works for like the bad guys. I'm like, what is happening? Like, it was still great to see though.
That sounds like good stuff. Yeah. All right, well, I got nothing, man. I think this is a good time
to run
away from
life.
Nice
people.
Nice. I thought you were gonna throw like furries or something in there, but that's good too.
Run away from my cat.
Oh gosh, he is a monster. Well, let's talk about the site for 2 minutes. It's almost done. We're gonna finish it at the end of February. Well, this is gonna come out much later than the end of February.
Content will be coming in March now.
Yes,
created content is going to be coming over the next few weeks.
Yeah, so if you want to be a part of Chrome Bomb, it's totally free. We're not going to charge you. We just want your pretty face in there. If you read, if you write, if you play games, if you what else? Draw, write music, play music.
If you make Power Ranger fan fiction, you turn it into short films where they're really gritty and kill each other. We'll take it and get sued, or we'll give it to somebody else so they get in trouble.
Yeah, and just be a part of us, man. Come, or girl, woman, man, woman, person.
Power Rangers,
My Little Ponies, furries. All of you. And you know what? Thank you, Hold on. Where'd that letter go? Hold on. Thank you, Everdusk. That's what I was gonna say, but I just know him by Aurora, because that's an easy one, Aurora. But Everdusk, aka Aurora, whoever you may be, with your New Zealand little IP address, because we're stalking you.
I think I'm working on. Sorry, I'm writing a script now for steampunk Power Rangers.
Okay, you know what? All right, thanks for listening, everyone, and kisses, love, bye-bye.
Later.